Welcome back to Fantasy Central by the Horsemen, presented by Rising Sun Global Media. This is your host, Zach, newly dubbed the Oracle, because I just keep nailing out the predictions on our Horsemen shows. And of course, I'm here with the Horsemen's own fantasy guru, Jeffe. Say what's up, Jeffe.
What's up, everybody?
So Jeffe earned the nickname Guru because this dude keeps hitting on the fantasy advice week in, week out. So if you need help with your team or just need a reassurance that you're making the right moves, stick with us today. We're going to go over our top week 6 waiver claims, players you need to start, and who to absolutely avoid playing. I'd like to say that if you guys ever have any questions, need any help with your roster, shoot us a message, drop a comment on Facebook at Horsemen Sports. We'd love to hear from you. We'll help you out the best we can. We love to interact with you guys one-on-one. So shoot us a message, leave a comment. We'll be there, hit you up here pretty soon. Also, before we get started, we'd like to ask if you'd head on over to our YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button for us. We started the Horsemen back in the offseason as a fun little project, and we all thoroughly enjoy talking football with you guys every single day. So a quick little subscribe to our channel goes a very long way, and we really appreciate all the support. You guys are awesome. So with all that said, let's get to it. We're going to start off with our waiver wire claims. Now, my understanding is you got quite a bit on the wire this week to pick up. Is that right, Jeff?
Yeah, there's one guy on here that I've had before, but he's still not drafted or not picked up in 50% of leagues yet. So I wanted to put him here, but a lot of stuff going on. You know, there was only one big injury this week, which was a nice change. But that injury was obviously the Dak Prescott injury. And if you look at that team, they're probably still going to be passing a bunch. As much as I think they want to go ahead and have Zeke and Tony Pollard carry the ball a bunch and play ball control, that defense is bad. So I think either way, Andy Dalton, he had 1 year as a top 5 quarterback, and Cincy a couple other years as top 10 quarterback. And those were some bad teams too. This offense has a lot of talent. I think Andy Dalton is somebody that should if you have Dak, this should be the guy you're going to get this week because he's going to be putting up the yards. But outside of that, somebody I've had here before, but he's still not picked up in over 50% of leagues yet, at least on ESPN Fantasy, is T. Higgins. He's had 6 targets or more in the last 3 games. And he's not having huge breakout games like we saw from Chase Claypool, but he's consistently a flex option. If you need somebody to get you consistent double digit, somewhere between 10 and 14 points a week right now, then T. Higgins is going to be the guy you want. That defense is bad, that they're going to throw a lot. So he's somebody that I personally have on a lot of my rosters and somebody that I think should be picked up in every league. And also Alexander Mattison, we're not real sure what's going on with Dalvin Cook yet. We know what the injury is, but we don't know if he's going to be out. But if he's out, then Mattison is definitely going to be a starter. But he has to be picked up this week. Whoever has Dalvin Cook should be making a priority to try to get him if he's available in the league. So Madison's one of those guys. And I initially thought for the Chargers that Joshua Kelly was going to be the guy that took the reins when Austin Eckler went out. But it seems that Justin Jackson's going to be that guy. He had a big night last night. I know they lost the game, but he looked good. Josh Kelly, really didn't. And you could see in the second half they went to Justin Jackson more because he looked better. And Joshua Kelly should be fine as he gets older and gets more experience in the league. But for the foreseeable future, it looks like Justin Jackson's going to have a nice role week to week for the Chargers. And my last one here, I already mentioned it, is Chase Claypool. A lot of people have seen the flash over the last couple weeks. He had a really big touchdown, I think an 81-yarder 2 weeks ago, and he exploded for 4 touchdowns this week. So Chase Claypool is going to be somebody that should be and will be picked up in probably every league this week.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Chase Claypool, I do want to say he's a former Notre Dame player, so go Irish. But yeah, he's a big body receiver. He can make all the plays. He's definitely balling out. As we saw last week, he had 3 receptions or 3 passing touchdowns and a rushing touchdown. And definitely Andy Dalton. I think Andy Dalton's a formidable quarterback. We talked about this on our show that we posted earlier today, which was our Week 5 recap show with Brad. I think Andy Dalton's a good quarterback. I really do. I think he's going to do pretty well in that offense. He has a lot of weapons. He has Ezekiel Elliott on the run game, and then he has three pretty productive receivers on the outside. So Andy Dalton will definitely be a nice pickup. I think he'll produce some numbers, a lot more numbers than he put up in Cincinnati. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, it's
All
going to
right.
be fun to watch. I mean, Dak was getting over 400 yards a game, and people shouldn't expect that from Andy Dalton, but it's also not out of the realm of possibility with what we've seen from the Cowboys so far.
Yeah, for sure. So, all right, let's move on to players you have to start this week. Who do you got on your running back list?
So the running backs, there are a lot of matchups that I like this week, and really not a whole lot of matchups I don't like. And with the bye weeks coming in, you're kind of looking for different guys to put in that maybe haven't performed or whatever the case. But I like James Robinson this week, somebody that's been consistent. Had a little bit of a down game against the Texans. Didn't do what we thought he would do, but he's somebody that I still like pretty much as a weekly starter, at least as a flex. It's just they don't have a whole lot of offense, but he's a good percentage of their offense. So I like him. I also like Jonathan Taylor. They have a good matchup against the Bengals this week. The Bengals are one of the worst teams in the league. That defense is really bad for the Bengals. So Jonathan Taylor should have a nice day. Should be a comfortable lead in this one. Maybe you see Jordan Wilkins in this game, which might hurt Jonathan Taylor's production, but I think they're going to let the rookie eat a little bit. At least I hope so. Myles Gaskin, they have a favorable matchup this week. I expect him to get a lot of work in the run game. They should get up in this game, and even if they pass, he's been a decent receiver for them out of the backfield too. So Myles Gaskin is going to be a nice start this week. Like I mentioned, Alexander Madison. You're only starting Alexander Madison if Dalvin Cook doesn't play. Well, I shouldn't say only because you might play him as a flex anyways, even if Dalvin Cook plays. Because if Dalvin Cook plays and aggravates that injury again, Alexander Madison's getting thrusted into a great position. Decent matchup, whatever the case is. Madison, somebody that I like this week, and Devontae Freeman getting more comfortable in the Giants' offense. I know they just played the Cowboys, so you got to take it with a grain of salt. But I like Devontae Freeman's production so far. I think the Giants are getting better as a whole. They're staying fairly healthy. They're still missing Sterling Shepard, but they're staying fairly healthy right now. So I like Devontae Freeman this week.
Yeah, absolutely. The Myles Gaskin pick, for sure. I was lucky enough to get him a few weeks ago, and he has produced ever since I picked him up. So he's definitely became the number one back there in Miami. Jonathan Taylor definitely should have a big game against Cincinnati. At least I hope so too. And James Robinson, he's definitely been producing as well for Jacksonville. So pretty good list of five running backs right there. So let's move on to the wide receivers. Who is your must start receivers this week?
Yeah, so I like Will Fuller. And obviously, anytime that name comes up, there's so many, especially fantasy football fans, cringe hearing that name because you expect so much and he gets hurt, so you get so little from him. But I like the matchup. He's really the only person producing for them right now. I know Brandon Cooks just had a big week. That whole offense did, but they played the Jags, so you kind of expected that. But Will Fuller, I like. Again, I like the matchup. I like that Deshaun goes to him when he pretty much has no other option, right? When he's scrambling around and he has to go downfield, a lot of the times he throws the ball downfield to Will Fuller. So I like him. And Terry McLaurin, both Terry McLaurin and Antonio Gibson this past week were disappointing because I told you last week to start them because it doesn't. It's like hey, no matter who they play and how bad their team is, they're getting their numbers. And then
You're not supposed to admit that. You're the guru. You're not supposed to admit your losses.
yeah, I know. You gotta man up to it though,
True, true.
and I expect both of those guys to be able to get it going again. It was Kyle Allen's first start, and he got hurt. Alex Smith came in. They just never got anything going. But I think as Kyle Allen gets more comfortable with the players around him, he already knows the system. So if he gets more comfortable with the players around him, then they'll start getting their numbers again. I think that starts this week. So I have Terry McLaurin as a starter. And Jamison Crowder is somebody that nobody talks about because it's the Jets, and the Jets are so laughable right now. But Jamison Crowder's played in 3 of 5 games this year. And in those 3 games, he's been a top 15 receiver all 3 times. And he's got 7 catches and over 100 yards in each one of those games. I believe a touchdown in each one of those games. He's great. That's why I picked him up in a couple of my leagues because he's so consistent for some reason. No matter who's the quarterback, no matter how bad the team is, he's getting the targets and he's likely to put up the numbers. So that I probably won't have him here again, but I just want to let people know because he flies under the radar. Jamison Crowder needs to be on a team and needs to be started week to week, like for sure. And Justin Jefferson. I like Adam Thielen here too, but most people are playing Adam Thielen anyways. But I also like Justin Jefferson. It's a matchup that there are a lot of good matchups this week. Really. Um, so I like Justin Jefferson. I think they're doing good things with him. If Dalvin Cook's not there, they're probably going to lean on the pass a little bit more. Even with him injured, you would expect them to probably lean on the pass and use a little more play action, help the receivers get that extra little bit of separation. So I like him this week.
Yeah, I like Justin Jefferson overall as a player. He's definitely going to be a pretty solid receiver going years down the road, and his production seems to continue to get better as he gets more used to playing in the fast league of the NFL. Jameson Crowder, definitely under the radar type player. I was hoping I'd get him in the later rounds in a couple of my leagues, but I wasn't able to do so. And Will Fuller, all I got to say about him is another Notre Dame receiver. You can't go wrong there. Go Irish. So, all right. My understanding, you have one tight end that you have to start this week. Who is it?
Yeah. So tight end and quarterback both. You're starting pretty much who you have. It's such a slim position, but Eric Ebron is somebody that I like this week. It's a good matchup. We saw Trey Burton come back last week. Not this week against the Browns, but last week he didn't do anything, but he had 5 catches this week against the Browns. So the strength of the Browns in terms of their pass defense is in their corners. So I'm a little more iffy on Juju. I think Denzel Ward is going to be able to shut him down to a degree. So Ben's going to have to look elsewhere. And who takes some of those targets? Probably the tight end in the middle of the field, which was very open on Sunday in the Browns game with the Colts. So I like Eric Ebron this week.
Interesting. I can't. It's hard being a Colts fan. It's hard for me to root for Ebron because of the way he did the Colts. Just gave up on us like that. But who knows? He may actually produce this week. We'll see. All right, let's move on to the players you absolutely must avoid and sit their ass on that bench this week. Who do you got?
Yeah, so Miles Sanders is somebody that personally I've always been iffy on him, especially this year. They used to use a committee, and then when they started using him all the time, he got hurt, and now the whole team around him is kind of trash. But they seem to look a little better. All the players that are out and all these guys that have stepped in, the people that have stepped in have played long enough with each other that they're starting to look decent. They're playing together, they're minimizing mistakes. Still making mistakes, but they're getting better at it. But with all that said, I do think Miles Sanders needs to be sat. I don't like the matchup. The Ravens are probably going to be. It's going to be sack city. 6, 7 sacks in this one. Miles Sanders probably not going to have a whole lot of rushing lanes. So I want to sit Miles Sanders this week if I can. Also, if I can, I'd like to sit Joe Mixon. We saw Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt gets a lot of passing production. Outside of the passing production, he didn't do a whole lot. He didn't have a whole lot of bangers for runs against the Colts, and the Colts have stayed steady. They finally played a really good offense, and their run defense was still really solid. So Joe Mixon, I don't expect him to have any rushing lanes here. That Colts defensive front is so nasty. I think we're going to get Darius Leonard back. So I don't expect Joe Mixon to do a whole lot. He doesn't do anything in the pass game that makes you think he needs to be a starter for you against a really good defense. And Melvin Gordon, they're going against the Patriots, and if assuming Cam's playing, it's been long enough. I think Cam's playing in this game, and with him playing, the Broncos are going to get down, and when the Broncos get down, Philip Lindsay's back, so he's probably going to get more of the passing game work. Melvin Gordon might get a catch or two, but I think a lot of that work and the third down work is going to go more to Philip Lindsay. Melvin Gordon, I just don't think he's going to get a whole lot of carries in this one because the Broncos are playing from behind. So I'd stay away from him if you can.
Yeah, for sure. I absolutely agree with you on all three of those. I'm not real big on all three to begin with, especially Miles Sanders. If you throw him on the sit list every week, I will agree with you 100% on there. So, and of course, the Colts have the best defense in the league. Last week we were missing Darius Leonard. He's going to be back. Huge impact there. We talked about that on our recap show. So I agree with you. All three of those not looking too good this week. So only time will tell. We'll figure it out.
Yep, absolutely.
So, all right. Be on the lookout tomorrow for Jeffe's Week 6 Power Rankings. You can find it on our Facebook and Twitter pages at Horsemen Sports. Be sure to check that out. Let us know in the comments what you think about your favorite team's ranking. Jeffe likes to argue, so take it up with him. Have a little powwow. Help us reach 1,000 subscribers on YouTube and have a chance of winning an authentic NFL jersey from the NFL shop on us. If you're watching this, hit that subscribe button, then hit that little bell icon so you never miss an episode or miss your chance at the jersey giveaway. If you're listening on your favorite podcast platform, head on over to YouTube. Help us out. We really appreciate the support. And it's not too late to go head-to-head with us every single week in the weekly Pick'em battle. You can hop on our Facebook or Twitter page at Horsemen Sports. We got a link up there. You join for free. It's on the ESPN Pigskin Pick'em. Make your picks every week. Who you think is going to win? You go against Jeffe, Brad, and I. Maybe get on the air with us and represent your team. Jeffe, you got any party words before we get out of here?
Yeah, a couple things. Just two quick things here. We didn't go over receivers that needed to be sat. And what I wanted to say there was that I like a lot of the matchups, and it's either I like a lot of the matchups or the teams with tough matchups, they're just either aren't a lot of different options on the team. So receivers should get a lot of targets, or they're going to be playing from behind and they should get a lot of targets. So I didn't really have any sitters. Just play who you think is going to get the most points. This should be a pretty predictable week in terms of receivers. And also the Jets are looking to move Le'Veon Bell, which could really help his value. Depending where he lands, the Jets just don't use him as a receiver out of the backfield, which I think is a huge mistake. And I mean, the team around him is trash too, right? The Jets are just terrible. So now is probably the best time to try to get a low end trade to get Le'Veon Bell. You don't have to give up a whole lot to go get him. So I'd go get him right now before he gets traded. Both him and the Jets are working to get him traded before the deadline. And with that news coming out public, I would assume it's probably going to happen in the next week or so. So if you want Le'Veon Bell, if you want to take that chance, then go get him right now.
Bro, what if they trade him to the Steelers?
Dude, how insane would that be?
I know, right?
Get like a 4th-round pick from the Steelers, get him back real quick.
Yeah, Steelers got him for real cheap too, instead of all that crazy money he's won from them. That'd be nuts. All right, so that's all we got for you guys today. We'll be back Thursday with Brad for our Week 6 picks and preview show. We'll see you then, and thanks for listening.